Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II World at War. This is a long running Let's Play series that I've been playing as the Allies. It is July of 1943, and while we are far ahead of the Allies in the liberation of Europe, having taken Vichy and invaded through Spain, which joined the side of the Axis powers, we have taken Vichy France, we've driven into the south of occupied France, and we are just a couple hexes away from Paris, which is now firmly ensconced in German control, I believe, and we are threatening the west coast of Paris as well, potentially being able to drive in and isolate Nantes, and then driving west to liberate cities like Brest and Saint-Malo and Cherbourg to hopefully open up the supply cities in France as well. But we're also not very strong here. A lot of our units are under strength. The Germans are railing in large numbers of units that are undoubtedly ready to counterattack. Similar to what's happened in Italy, where we've knocked the Italian forces out of the war, but not been able to progress out of the northern mountains to drive south toward German troops in and around Rome. On the Russian front, things are gloomy. The Russians are holding in and around Moscow, but there's only a couple of hexes between Germany and Russian defeat. So that's a bit of a problem. We do have some anti-aircraft defenses in and around Moscow that hopefully will help hold the city, but this is sort of the high tide moment for the German offensive. Their armor has gotten up to level 4, and we have no real armor to defend against it, just some infantry. And yeah, I mean, this time of year gives them the best of their offensive capabilities. They don't have to deal with winter sort of penalties that come, winter penalties that come in the winter. But that's sort of the situation. They've taken Stalingrad. They've driven east deep into the center of Russia. And they've also taken almost all the Caucasus, although a couple of partisan units have sprung up in their rear, which actually should be cutting supply for these units. If we take a look here, the troops in Grozny are astride the German rail line that moves in. We've also got troops in Baku, so they've got no primary supply depot down there. So I'm hoping that these German troops here are largely out of supply. The only hope they have is that Poti is a port, so it could be bringing supply along this rail line through Tbilisi and into these German units, but it'd be great if it's not. That's the situation in Russia. In China, the front is slowly coming apart. The Japanese are driving on Chongqing. We only have a handful of units and some strategic points blocking their position. In the north, they're driving on the alternate capital of Langkao after knocking the communist Soviets, or not communist Soviets, the communist Chinese out of the war. In the north, they did make a drive on the third alternate capital at Umrichi. We've got 2 Chinese units in between them, hopefully cutting their supply, maybe being able to destroy that Japanese army up there in the north. And in the south, similar situation, just a handful of Chinese and Indian forces holding the Japanese back. India will definitely be vulnerable to a Japanese invasion once all of this is overrun and sort of calms down. But I'm hoping I've got 3 or 4 turns or more before that happens. Meanwhile, a large number of our British troops are operating in the Dutch East Indies. We've taken the island of Sumatra. We can see here that Palembang was worth 15 MPPs, as well as another 15 to the north. We also have surrounded Batavia, the Japanese corps there at the capital of the Dutch East Indies. We've taken Surabaya on the eastern coast, and we have a transport that is hopefully going to get into Dili to take the capital of Eastern Timor that the Japanese have already taken. Meanwhile, in the Central Pacific, we've taken the northern half of the Mariana Islands, having taken Saipan, and then halfway down Tinian, there's a Japanese Marine Corps here that's been giving us some trouble. We've got an armored unit and a Marine unit ashore, and our hope is to deprive these guys of supply so that we can finish them off. Our Navy is a little bit strung out and may be vulnerable to counterattack by the Japanese. They've got a carrier up here that's got a good, strong air wing that could probably sink 2 of our damaged ships up here. They also have a lot of land-based air in China that could potentially sink another couple ships here. And then they've got the Yamato at sea, which is dealing some damage for us. The Japanese fleet is down to 4 units. 2 of them are subs, 1 carrier, 1 battleship. There's no way they can stand against us, but we're strung out and we're in a vulnerable position, so they could definitely do some damage. And I don't want to get into a situation where land-based air in China is really hitting us hard. So we need to hope for a good roll in the off turn, and we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Duke Hippo, thanks for the follow. And that's the situation right now. So we'll see how things play out. I've already issued my orders, so let's see what the AI does to us as we move into August here of 1943. All right, so one of our Indian corps is losing attrition in France. Meanwhile, Hiroshima is mobilizing its home guard because the American fleet is so close into the Japanese home islands. So that's not good. That's going to give Japan free land units. Meanwhile, foreign ministers reporting success in Turkey, swinging at 18% to the Allies, which is good, with the Caucasus falling largely to the Germans. We definitely don't want Turkey joining the war on the side of the Axis. If anything, we'd love for them to join the side of the war on the Allies to really bolster that southern front and potentially strike into the heart of the Balkans. Italy has a pretty strong force that can really be can do some damage if you can get them into the war. At least they did for me when I was Germany, and I had them in on that Let's Play for me. So one would hope that we could do the same. Meanwhile, the Yamato sails up there and badly damages a British battleship. The Japanese carrier, meanwhile, looks like it withdrew further away. And let's see here, more troops moving to the Western Front. A couple of units operationally moving. I think I said last turn that operational moves for the AI don't cost the AI anything in MPPs. I was told that's incorrect, so that may have been a misunderstanding on my own part, but it is what it is. German armor moving west of Paris, interestingly enough, into some open terrain out that way. Japanese subs moving along the coast of Australia, where we've still got a fair number of troops that are bottled up, not having any money to send them anywhere. Meanwhile, Japanese bombers hitting some supply and industry points in China. Tactical air just destroyed. Was that a battleship or a cruiser they just blew up along the coast of China? Meanwhile, that Indian armor unit is in trouble. German air in Russia hitting our positions here, softening them up for the eventual German offensive, which will probably begin later this turn against Moscow. Sell more war bonds. I need more money. I mean, I definitely need more money. You can see here a fair number of medium bombers hitting our defenses in front of Moscow. Japanese artillery pounding Chinese forces here in front of Chongqing. German armor is attacking to the northwest of Moscow. It didn't really do anything there, so I guess that's a decent result for us. And there goes another Russian army near Kubachev. An American garrison unit was just destroyed near Tours. Chinese armor, or not Chinese, Canadian armor is getting hit hard by German troops in a counterattack south of Paris. Interestingly enough, the offensive on Moscow is kind of spread out and not directed at any one unit, which seems like not a great strategy for the AI, but I could be wrong there. Japanese moving toward Langkao, one of the alternate Chinese capitals. Another allied unit in France destroyed there. The partisans at Baku are destroyed. Oh god, this is a bad turn. Japanese troops attacking Chinese forces at Canton. At least the troops on the road to Chongqing held their position. Lost a bunch of units. We really can't afford to lose. Casualties are okay as long as we can replace them, but actually losing units destroyed in Europe is a very bad thing for us. Germany has so much more money than we do. Meanwhile, Baku fell to the Germans for the second time. Armored strike here. Just destroyed another Soviet unit here near Rezev. Another infantry unit in front of Moscow for the Germans just destroyed. An infantry unit well to the east was just destroyed. Japan just dropped paratroopers in our rear in China. Well, everything's falling apart this turn. Moscow might fall next turn. God damn it. Don't have enough headquarters support in my invasion of Europe. That's one key problem. The other problem is the Germans have a tech advantage. The other problem is they gave them a buff, so they all have a massive experience advantage over all the human players as well. So I guess that's what happens when you play on hard. It's more difficult. Banjax, Putin's not alive, is he? I don't think he's alive right now. There may be no Putin. That's your silver lining. Osaka mobilizes its home guard as well. Okay, calculating supply. Well, we lost the Indian 254th Tanks unit in China. We lost the Assam Corps destroyed. 6 U.S. garrison destroyed. The Maryland battleship was sunk. 1st Soviet Special Forces destroyed. 10th Soviet Army. 10th Soviet Corps. 3rd mechanized unit destroyed. 1st Polish Russian destroyed. That was a bad turn. Do I have any new units coming in? I don't care about these. All right, so the U.S. is getting the 3rd Corps. Soviets get at least 3 corps that they raised. All right. Well, these guys aren't even dug in, so we'll move this corps here. They'll at least have some readiness. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I just moved my armor into the woods. That was probably foolish. Alright, so finish that German army off to the east of Volkov. Jesus, that artillery just killed our men. Slight counterattack near Volkov finished off 1 German army. Where were they at? They were at 130 last turn, so that kill brings them right back to where they were at total strength-wise. These guys are at level 6 entrenchment in Moscow, so I'm not going to move them. These guys are at 4 entrenchments south of Moscow. I really want to move this unit south as well, but they're at 2, level 2 entrenchment. I can force march some of these guys in, but if I do that, then they suffer a morale and effectiveness penalty. I can deploy new units here, but if I deploy them in the front, they also don't really come ready to fight. Not sure what the better option is. Both options kind of suck. All right, we'll swing these guys in here. All right, drove that army back. Partisans just going to kind of hold there, I guess. Hopefully that armor doesn't drive into Iran. Really don't need them to invade India from the west. That would be bad. Okay. We're going to leave the aircraft there just to take damage to buy time. Russia is perhaps a lost cause, but it's not so much whether it's a lost cause or not. It is mostly about delaying the loss of the cause, if that makes sense. I hate doing that, but it's only exposed on one front, so I'll take that. Right, so we rebuilt the front in front of Moscow this turn. Again, the longer we can delay them, the better. Wait, there's some armies also, 26 army. Put that here. I've got 2 other corps. I think we'll put those elsewhere. We'll put these guys on the road to Perm there, to block them from getting to Perm, which is an alternate capital. Kubizhev's going to fall back in their hands, but that's nothing much I can do about that. I guess we'll put these guys down here. Just, we may have to move them into Iran. Interesting that that armor has no supply, though. Alright, so that's pretty much it for Russia. I wish I hadn't moved that armor unit, but too late for that now. I'll reinforce these guys. And that's it for Russia. We still have a bunch of new money we can spend. It's probably too late to try and spend some research for the Russians, especially on things like armor that we're never going to have money for. Infantry warfare. Like, does it make sense for industrial technology to try and spend money there, or is that just a waste at this point? I wonder if it's just better to say the 600 money we have, let's go ahead and just purchase what we can get, because the USSR is not going to last long. I know someone was saying spending money on anti-aircraft is a bad investment. I really don't know if I agree with that. Given the fact that they've got so much air power, to me it seems like it's probably a sound investment. You know, anything to mute their effectiveness against us. Alright, so we just purchased a new army. Also got some mechanized units. Maybe we can use them effectively. You can see we've got a lot of units stacked up, so we should get some reserves. You know, more reserves continue to flow into the front. So hopefully we can continue to sort of slog things out and keep it delayed as long as we can. Maybe even get into another winter before Russia falls. The T-34 just isn't good enough right now. Their level 4 tanks are so much better than what we have that we can bring to bear right now, because we only have level 2 tanks, that it's probably not a good investment, I don't think. Meanwhile, this guy is 4 supply, 2 entrenchment. Alright, so entrenchment's gone. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and throw this guy in a transport. Send him south to Oosthaven. Unload the... Alright, so hopefully this headquarter... It doesn't look like... This is a Sudan headquarter, so I don't actually know if he actually helps any of these units. He may not, but I was hoping he would. Come on. Looks like I can't land him there. Alright, so we landed and we took Dili, which I don't know how valuable that is or not, but we took another capital from the Japanese, so that'll be good. Meanwhile, where did Yamato go? Where the hell did it go? Oh, found the Yamato. Shit. Okay, so let's bring our air power in. Hopefully we can hurt this guy badly. The anti-aircraft on the ship is tremendous. We're going to suffer a lot of attrition damage for our air units. Alright. Is that it? I don't think those air units can't hit from there. Okay, so then let's pull our ships back from the coast and finish off the Royal Sovereign. Just finished off the Yamato. Good result there. These guys need to pull back somewhere they can reinforce and get their air wings back up. Meanwhile, let's see what the Japanese have on some of these surrounding bases. Assuming they still have troops here, they do. Gepsi is empty. What about Battlefront? Empty. Peleliu's also empty. Okay. Truck is definitely not empty, right? Correct. Okay, so truck still has troops there. Okinawa obviously has troops. Iwo Jima has troops, no surprise there. I wonder if Davao might, or Davao, or however you pronounce it, might be empty. God damn it. Do we want to reinforce those guys at the front? Alright, so we just destroyed a Japanese paratrooper unit that tried to press in at Chungking. Good result there for us. The Indian troops here are going to reinforce in front of Langkao, back up to full strength. These Japanese troops here in the interior of China apparently have no supply, but yet somehow are holding out against 2 Chinese corps, which both apparently also have almost no supply. Alright, so move these guys here. I gotta imagine there's like no way they're pushing supply that far forward. I mean, I know they have a headquarter unit back there, but it just seems a little bit tenuous. Alright, so trying to hold. Let's reinforce these guys to full strength. Maybe we'll get lucky and the weather will be on our side. No, don't do that. Stay in your defensive position here. Attack that garrison, do a little bit of damage. Alright. Not a lot I can do in China right now. I was hoping I'd finish off this headquarter unit, which didn't reinforce, but I wasn't able to. I did take Hankow, though, which is a secondary supply. So maybe that'll help. I really need long-range amphibious transport for the British. I need it so bad. Alright, I'm going to move these guys over here. And then this paratrooper unit's going to move south so we can hopefully finish off that Batavian force. I don't think I can see it, Davao. I can't get adjacent to the hex. Anyway, Peleliu and Bathial-Thub are both unoccupied. We've got the 3rd Army coming from the U.S. West Coast. We'll get them out as far as we can go. This carrier, meanwhile, fully reinforced. So we'll swing these guys west to try and help at Manila. Or not Manila, at Guam. Or no, not Guam. Tinian. Reinforce those tanks. Special forces get an upgrade? Mobility. Might be useful. Probably not going to spend the money on anti-aircraft right now. Let's get these guys adjacent. I think they can hurt its supply. Well, it's all Axis countries got the buff. So Japan too. Although we've been more effective against Japan. I mean, the alternative is sending in reinforcements to China to try and help the situation there. The only problem with doing that is that's a losing cause. They've got so many more men than us. It might help delay matters, but it won't stop them. Reinforce the aircraft here. And then for these troops, I'm going to go ahead and throw them on long-range transports. It'd be awesome if I could land... I won't get there next turn, but I'll probably go for Peleliu and Babelthup, because those are two national morale centers that'll hurt Japan's morale. What is their national morale right now, anyway? It's probably still pretty decent. It's over 70 still, but that's not... I mean, that's not indestructible. Interesting, these forces in China have terrible morale for the Japanese. How are they effectively attacking us? Banzai, I guess. Maybe they'd be just absolutely steamrolling us if it wasn't for that case. Hey, Fred Bob, how you doing? All right, so that's China. That's the Pacific. I'm not sure there's anything else I can do there. Let's go to the Atlantic. Well, one other thing is we've got this sub that's coming through the channel. Also, we've got this battleship that's coming east. Okay. All right. So I don't think they have any troops on Sicily, so I'm going to move the 1st British Corps into Palermo, take that. Meanwhile, see if we can't hurt these German troops a little bit. Seems our artillery did next to nothing against them. I don't really like the idea of taking 4 casualties on a good unit like a mechanized unit, but we destroyed that German unit to our front, so that's a good result. Reinforce this unit a little bit. And just like that, we've driven east, and we've cut the northern half of Italy off from the southern half. So we've driven east toward Venice. Doesn't look like I can overcome these headquarters units quite yet, but I think that's a good result. Destroying that German unit in our front. They're back down to 129 units, so we also managed to destroy one of their units. Okay, let's pull this guy back. 2 to 4 against these Hungarian troops. Or are they Romanian? No, they're Hungarian. That's a good result there. Ooh, 1 to 4. I like those odds. Very nice. Just destroyed an allied Axis army. Drove another one back after badly mauling it. Canadians need to be reinforced here. This German army is a 1 to 3. I like those odds. We'll reinforce this special forces unit. All right, so maybe my air can start to do some things. All right, let's... Is it raining over there? Can they do anything? Can we soften anybody up? No. I guess it's just trying to eat up their interceptors. My interceptors on the continent are going to get destroyed. What if I go for their air? Whoa! The air unit was just destroyed. Yikes. Jesus Christ, they knocked out 5 of the air units? Well, I guess the only saving grace there is I managed to, I think, eat up their air forces. Or not. There still looks like there's at least one enemy fighter left. I want to get my bombers destroyed. God. Yep. Oh no, there goes the Lancasters! Still 2-0, huh? My tactical air is doing something now, at least. Okay, those are a 1 to 4. I'd love to upgrade that armored unit, but I don't think I can do that quite yet. 5-2, no thanks. Fall back there. Alright, so we just destroyed that German unit. I pulled the level 3 armor back because I really need them to get upgraded. Okay, so we destroyed a couple of German units here. We destroyed 1 Allied army. We destroyed 1 German unit in front of Paris. Knocking their strength down a little bit. They're down 4 units this turn. Do I plan on playing the game when Germany bum rushes me out of France? I mean, yeah, probably. I'll probably play till the end, I think. Trying to reinforce my air units here. I don't like that I'm spending like all of my money just trying to reinforce these guys. How about the losses this turn? Have they at least lost more money than they've gained in income this turn? They've lost a few units. No, their income keeps going up. They're not even losing more than they're getting. At least Japan is. Pretty much the last year of the war. Okay. Really need to reinforce those units. They still have air units in the south of Germany? Or Italy? I'm wondering if I'm messing with their supply situation in Italy here. Great if I am. Pola's down to 0 in terms of its supply. I'll take a little bit of damage here. I'm surprised they're not actually... going for my naval units with their Air Force in Europe. Because they really haven't. Okay. So the bulk of the American units got used up on reinforcing different units across the map. Brest, meanwhile, at least has no supply. Let's switch these guys to Raider. Swing these guys over here. Weakening the supply coming into Malo, or Malo, or however you pronounce that. Okay. Reinforce those American fighters and these British fighters. And there goes all my money. The Americans have, or there's a Mexican garrison unit, which is going to come ashore here at Bordeaux. Ever so slightly strengthening our position in Europe. Go ahead and transfer this armored unit as much as we can toward Europe. So another level 4 tank unit would be great. Another U.S. Army Corps would be great. Get them into Delgado. Meanwhile, we've got another American 3rd Corps. I'm kind of tempted to put the 3rd Corps in the Pacific. I need more men there, but I think Europe right now is slightly more urgent, although the opportunity is in the Pacific, so. Germany OP, please nerf. Well, yeah, but that's also kind of how we have it set up. Ijo Hyde, thanks for the follow, by the way. And also Duke Hippo. Just saw that you followed about 31 minutes ago. All right, so I'm going to try and get my headquarter unit ashore, probably at Saipan, to strengthen my troops here. Maybe I can get up to level 10 supply and then grind down these Japanese troops at San Josef. And then I'm going to send my other infantry unit out to Battlefront and then Peleliu. They'll probably take this Balducci Corps of India and put it ashore in the Philippines, because I have returned with Indian troops rather than MacArthur. So I don't have enough money to throw these guys on boats. So that's probably about it for this turn. We'll be moving into September in our next one. Should be pretty interesting. Let's see. Maybe we should try and bombard these guys to reduce their supply slightly. What is their supply at? They're at 5. So we'll go ahead and bombard the port. We will take some damage. It's raining, so our air units can't strike. You can see we dropped their... Well, I think we dropped their supply at San Josef. Let's move that cruiser back one, move our battleship in here and hit that port. So we knocked the supply in the port down a little bit further. Their entrenchment's at 3, which is going to be difficult, but I think if we pound them enough, they might be able to be reduced here. We'll see how disastrous this next turn is. I don't have any money really to spend on other things. What's the diplomacy situation? We swung Turkey 18% to the Allies, so you can see here they're down to 3% favored for the Axis. A 27% chance that we can move them a little bit further toward the Allies. I guess keeping them out of the war is the important thing at the moment. All right, and that's going to do it for this episode of Strategic Command, World War II, World at War. I feel like we're making some progress in the Pacific, slowly but surely. I do think we're going to have a chance to go for the Japanese mainland, although I did just realize that based off the way the rules work around countries surrendering, that may not be good enough to force Japan to surrender, which would be kind of mind-blowing. But if we can hold on to the islands, then we can at least ensure that I don't think we can lose if Tokyo is in Allied hands, as long as we pack England full of troops, which admittedly it is not full of troops right now. But with our naval supremacy, that may allow us to prevent any kind of amphibious invasion or something like that, even if we get kicked out of the continent. But we'll see. It was a pretty encouraging, I think, counteroffensive against the Germans in France this turn, so we'll see how things play out in our next episode. But with that being said, I am going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know your thoughts down below. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you for watching. And until next time, I am out.